Shalom, Israel. It's your brother Marcus G back with yet another truth for thought. First and foremost, I must give all honor, praises, and glory to the Most High. I must give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High. Secondly, I want to say this particular truth for thought, I know it very well may be some scoffers about this one. And my beloved brother, King Geno, for those who don't know, that's also the king known as Common Sense Ain't So Common. He did a lesson yesterday, just prior to another of my beloved brothers, King Mike Maliss. But he did a lesson where it said, where the title of it is, I may sound rude, but I mean well. There are some people this is going to sound rude to. I don't give a damn. The truth is just that, the truth. He brought out in his lesson how the men of the Most High were mighty men. It wasn't they weren't these people that were like, come on, let me convince you of. No, they were, this is what it is, and this is the proof. That's going to kind of be how I'm going to be throughout this lesson. Thirdly, my beloved brother, King Mike Maliss, just after King Geno's lesson, did a in-depth of the 12 tribe chart. And there is no irony or coincidence when he was breaking some things down. And again, the truth is just the truth. In the truth that he was bringing, a lot of what I'm going to say today, he literally brought out even in that lesson. And that you're going to see as we get deeper into this lesson. As you saw, the title of it is From Rags to Riches, the Opportunistic Amalekites. Israel, the world is continuing to spiral in madness. Further proof that time is drawing nigh. Now, Kyrie Irving, and I said I wasn't going to get into this when it happened, but the thing about Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving knew of who he was some time ago, like over a year ago. Kyrie Irving had taken several photos of him in fringes, okay? But here lately, he's been persecuted for simply posting a picture of a documentary known as Hebrews to Negroes. In fact, let me share my screen real fast. Let me share my screen. First, let me make sure that I got the screen ready before I go there. Yeah. So now I can go back to here and I'm going to share my screen. Basically, what Kyrie Irving posted was this picture. As you see, my mouse is hovering over. It just says Hebrews to Negro. and he's being persecuted. And this is something that the world has done before. This is nothing new. But is it ironic or is it coincidental that the only places, as you see here, the only places where this can be seen or the book itself can be purchased is going to be from Amazon? That will then lead to, okay, who stands to gain from this? If one were to go and just check out what this Hebrews to Negro was about, and I'll tell you, it will be the owner of Amazon. The owner of Amazon is an Amalekite. All right. He is an Amalekite. So again, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because now we're going to go into some scripture. But I just wanted to share that with you so that you'll understand some of the basis around where I'm going with it, okay? Or not so much as where I'm going with this, but what the world is doing in regards to this. And again, I said I wasn't going to address this because I knew that Kyrie knew who he was some time ago. He knew I'm not going to say to the exact, because I've not actually spoken with Kyrie or exchanged words with him, but there were things that were evident that he knew some things. Again, just the mere pictures that he has taken. And this has not been just yesterday or the day before yesterday. This has been over time where he's been seen with fringes, okay? So again, let's go and let's look at, okay, the title of this is From Rags to Riches, the Opportunistic Amalekites. Now, with that he posted, I posed the question again, who stands to gain from either purchasing the documentary or the hard copy of the book, which both are by a person of Israel descent? Again, I'll go back to it so we can get a little bit more. This was wrote by Ronald Dalton Jr. He is of Israelite descent. And again, the actual, this is the documentary, as you see, it was directed by the same person of Israelite descent. But if you were to go to promote Ronald Dalton Jr., who's of Israelite descent, who actually stands to gain from that? And we gonna get some scriptures to see, because I'm gonna say again, in order to get any of these outside of Kindle, which you see right here, you have to go through Amazon. So who owns Amazon? Every penny that goes through Amazon goes to this person of that is an Amalekite. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get some scripture. And I want to start this off by going to Psalms 83. The reason that I'm going to go to Psalms 83 is this: it's a lot of questions that can be answered in regards to the questions that I just asked, right here in Psalms 83. And we're not going to read all of this. It's a short chapter. You see here, it's only 18 verses. And where we're going to actually stop is verse 7. But I just want to read this real quick down to verse 7. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they hate thee, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Again, I've covered this particular chapter of Psalms several times. I've covered it when just talking about verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start referencing this particular chapter as I'm talking about certain biblical nationalities in regards to you, Israel, in regards to you. So let me continue. For lo, Psalms 83 verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who are the Most High's hidden ones? Israel. And I will answer it for you. That is going to be you, Israel. That is going to be you. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together in one consent, they are confederate against thee. Verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom. I addressed the tabernacles of Edom in a Truth for Thought that I did that was titled, You Think They Are Your Friends. All right. And the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. But verse 7, I want you to pay attention to, because what you're seeing is a roll call of the enemies of not only the Most High, but the Most High's chosen people. This is a roll call of them. Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. But here you see in verse 7, and Amalek. So I want to ask, I want to take a little time now to give you, Israel, a chance to answer the questions. One, what is your understanding of who the people known, the biblical nationality known as the Amalekites? Who are those people today? I want to ask you all that and give you a little time to respond as to who are the Amalekites that are mentioned biblically, and who are those people today, right? And while you all are answering that, I'm going to go ahead and go to Genesis. We're going to get some genealogy. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 36. We're going to get verses 9 through 12. All right. And it reads, and these are the generation of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau, Reuel, the son of Bashema, the wife of Esau, and the sons of Eliphaz were Timon, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. I'm going to ask you again. These people, Amalek, they are obviously of Edomite descent. Who are these people today? Again, I'm asking you all this question, but I'm going to continue to give you all some biblical breakdown of these people. So I want to go to 1 Chronicles, and we're going to get chapter 1. We're going to get verses 35 through 36. All right. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Reuel, and Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz, Timon, and Omar, Zephi, and Gatam, Kenaz, and Timnah, and Amalek. Who are these people? Amalek. Who are the Amalekites? Who are the Amalekites? So I think I've given enough time for Israel to answer who are the Amalekites. The Amalekites are the people today that you know are Jewish people. The Amalekites are the people that you know today as Jewish people. These are people of Edomite descent, as we just saw both in Genesis and 1 Chronicles. So now I want to go to Exodus. Now I want to go to Exodus. I want to go to chapter 17, and we're going to get verses 14 through 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Now, the Most High said this to Moses, and I want to kind of give a backstory as to what's going on. The reason that the Most High said this to Moses is because it's coming to a point where there's going to be a passing of the torch. And Moses is going to pass the torch. And I did a Truth for Thought on Yeshua of Anave, or Joshua of Nun, and the passing of the torch for the continue of the leadership of Israel beyond the Jordan was going to be entrusted in the hands of Joshua. All right. But for some reason, the Lord said unto Moses to write for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, the next of succession, as far as leading the people of Israel, that the Most High will only put out of remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Verse 15, and Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi, for he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So here we see that not only in Psalms 83 proved that Amalek was an enemy of not only the Most High, but his people. Here, we clearly see that the Most High is proclaiming Amalek to be an enemy of him. I'm telling you, it's because of his people, all right? I've said several times, there are no walks of life that have either played a role in either directly or indirectly in the oppression or the subduing of the Most High's people that he is not going to recollect and have an issue with, which is why vengeance is his. Vengeance is the Most High. All this you can read in the Bible. But what was it that Amalek did? What was it, or what is it that even today Amalek does in regards to the Most High's people? Now, I've already told you that Amalek is what you know today as the Jewish people. So what I want to do is, and this is going to kind of be a detour, but we're gonna go to Revelation. We're going to go to Revelation, right? We're going to go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. Okay. I know thy works. This is said by Yahweh. Okay. All said by Yahweh. And it reads, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Why would Yahweh say that? Not just here, but we can go over a chapter to the exact same verse 9. So we can go to Revelations 3 and 9, and it say, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. What is it? What role did the Amalekites play in regards to the Most High's chosen people that there appears to be this indignation towards these people, as we read back in Exodus 17. Let me go back to it. Let me go back to Exodus 17. And it says here, for he have said, because the Lord have sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's ongoing. So there was something that these people of Edomite descent, known as Amalek, what did they do, or what are some of the things that they did to cause this indignation from the Most High, where it is shown that not only are they his enemy, but he too, again, will make war with them from generation to generation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Now, again, I said earlier, Kyrie Irving simply posted the picture of Hebrews to Negroes, and he's been persecuted. He's actively being persecuted for doing such. Now, what's perplexing to me is, although this was done by a person of Israelite descent, both the hard copy and the actual documentary, the only way that one can get it is through Amazon, which is owned by an Amalekite, a Jewish person who stands to gain if you were to say to yourself, Israel, I want to see. This has piqued my interest. I want to see what this is about. I will tell you, and I'll share the screen just so you all can see. I will tell you, it costs you $11.99 to rent this movie, $49.99. These are off by $1. $49.99 to buy it. It will cost you $30 to buy it as a paperback. And this was old. This is old. This is not up to date. But who stands to gain if you just decided, I want to check it out? I just want to check it out and see what it's about. Who reaps the benefits from you, Israel, checking it out? And I'm going to tell you, if you check it out, you're going to find some truth. So I want to share my screen again, because I asked the question. I said, what could Amalek have done? What could Amalek have done? And I've said before that all biblical nationalities have done something in a negative light in regards to the Most High's chosen people. He has not forgotten, and for those iniquities of their fathers, they'll have to answer to. They will definitely have to answer to. Right now, the people, the Amalekites, are a very rich people. How did they get certain riches? How did this happen? Or is it just something that was just said in the Bible in regards to these people, and it's just so happened to be the case? So now we're gonna look at some things in the world. Did Jewish people own slaves? Now, I said earlier, my beloved brother Mike Maliss went over there, did an in-depth lesson on the 12 tribes chart, very in-depth. And if you paid attention to the things that he was reading, you would have found that you would have heard some of this stuff that I'm about to read, not only to you, but with you right here on my screen. And I will say to you again, okay, for the iniquities of the forefathers of any and all that had to do with the downfall or demise of the Most High's chosen people, the Most High will not forget. He always will have that indignation that we read in Exodus 17, verse 16. That will never change until that is accounted for. Okay, so did the Jewish or Amalekites, did they own slaves? Well, let's just see. Yes, Jacob Radar Marcus, a historian and reform rabbi, wrote in his 4-volume history of American Jews that over 75% of Jewish families in Charleston, South Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, and Savannah, Georgia, owned slaves, and nearly 40% of Jewish households across the country did. The Jewish population in these cities was quite small, however, so the total number of slaves they owned represented just a small fraction of the total slave population. Eli Faber, a historian at New York City's John Jay College, reported that in 1790, Charleston's Jews owned a total of 93 slaves, and that perhaps 6 Jewish families lived in Savannah in 1771. A number of wealthy Jews were also involved in the slave trade in the Americas. Some as ship owners who imported slaves, and others as agents who resold them. In the United States, Isaac Da Costa of Charleston, David Franks of Philadelphia, and Aaron Lopez of Newport, Rhode Island, are among the early American Jews who were prominent in the importation and sale of African slaves. In addition, some Jews were involved in the trade in various European Caribbean colonies. I'm saying to you again, if you did not get a chance to check out my beloved brother King Mike Maliss's lesson on the 12 tribe chart, there are things that I am mentioning right here, right now, that he mentioned just yesterday. How ironic or how coincidental is this? Because what you're reading, and what I'm reading to you is real history. This really happened. This really happened. Okay. In addition, some Jews were involved in the trade in various European Caribbean colonies. Alexander Lindo, a French-born Jew who became a wealthy merchant in Jamaica. He was going over the 12 tribe chart. This was a wealthy Jewish person who was a wealthy merchant in Jamaica in the late 18th century, was a major seller of slaves on the island. But who were these slaves? Who were these slaves? What you're starting to see, Israel, is why this indignation of the Most High, because of the affliction that was put on his chosen people by this people known as Amalek or the Amalekites. But I'm not going to stop just there. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's see how true this is. At the time of the Seleucid Empire, 200 BC to 60 BC, the slave trade was an important source of income for Jewish people in Palestine. These people have been a part of the affliction. These Jewish people have been a part of the affliction of the Most High's chosen people, just like it said back in Psalms 83. But let me keep reading. During Herod's reign in Palestine, Rome was home to 50,000 Jewish people, merchants, landowners, physicians, jurists, craftsmen, hawkers, and beggars. The merchants sold slaves. These Jewish people were making money hand over fist in the slave trade of the Most High people. It is no irony or coincidence that there is an indignation from generation to generation that the Most High has with Amalek. There is no irony or coincidence. Let me keep reading. Hundreds of thousands of slaves belonging to Jewish colonizers. That word colonizer. Most people, when they associate that word colonizers with any group of people, they more than likely associate it with Edomites. But again, when we went in Genesis, as well as First Chronicles, we see that Amalek is of Edom. They are Edomites. They are colonizers. All of this is true. Were recruited in the Jewish religious group known as the Nazarenes or early Christians. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Christianity. There has been a hand stretched out towards you in regards to these Jewish people. Not by me. This is history. This is history. Most of them were murdered. The world's Jewish population fell from 5.5 million to 1 million by AD 350. The corpse of 3 million people are stored in the catacombs around Rome. There are 600 miles long and in some places 3 stories high. During the Middle Ages, bones from 13 Jewish only and later from 53 Judeo-Christian enclaves were removed from their graves and sold in all quarters of the world as relics of the Christian martyrs. For centuries, the trade in relics from the catacomb was Rome's most important source of income. These people, the Amalekites, and again, I'm going to reflect on the title, From Rags to Riches, the Opportunistic Amalekites. Now, why did I use the word opportunistic? I'm going to touch on that when we get back to scripture. So let's go and let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's just see how true this is if the world and the world's recorded history coincides with that which the Bible says as to why the Most High apparently has this indignation towards Amalekite, as it is written, for the inequities of their forefathers, meaning the things that their forefathers did, to his chosen people. Okay. A Portuguese trader, these were Amalekites. Read that up for you off the top. Portuguese trader could become very wealthy trading European goods from captured Africans. One European horse could possibly purchase 30 or more slaves from an African tribe. Now you can also read in the Bible about Amalek and Canaan basically laying in bed together. Basically laying in bed together. But let me keep reading this. One European horse could possibly purchase 30 or more slaves from an African tribe. The various tribes in Africa had been fighting for territories for hundreds of years, but the desire by Europeans for slaves, by these colonizers for slaves, increased the incentives for Africans to enter into battle. Warfare increased the possibility of capturing more slaves. Europeans would sell weapons to Africans, which also increased conflict on the continent. Eventually, Portuguese and other Europeans would enter into the interior of Africa to capture slaves themselves. I'm going to say again. To all the biblical nationalities that are not Israel, understand, for any and all parts that your forefathers played in any role of the affliction of the Most High's chosen people, understand the Most High has not forgotten. Has not forgotten. You will be dealt with. but not by man himself. No, see, you get to answer that to the Most High. The Portuguese slave traders continued to explore down the west coast of Africa and eventually rounded the bottom of the continent. Then they began to head up the eastern side of Africa and eventually came into the slave trading ports of the Muslims. Wait a minute. Is this saying that Muslims too have something to do with slaves and the slave trade? Let's keep reading. Let's just see. Eventually came into the slave trading ports of the Muslims. When the Muslim traders and the Portuguese traders met on the eastern coast of Africa, many battles were fought, and the Europeans even took possession of some Muslim slave trading cities. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. My people, my people, my people. If we would only do a little research, if we would only do a little research, it is almost crazy. And please don't take my word for it. I'm going to leave the links to all of this for you. You can go and check this yourself. Fact check it yourself. The Portuguese slave traders at first made their fortune selling Africans in Europe. They were going and getting Israelites and taking them back to Europe and selling them. However, they changed when Europeans started making money in the sale of sugar. At first, sugar plantations were set up on the islands off the coast of Europe and Africa. Eventually, the Portuguese colonized Brazil. Wait a minute, my beloved brother King Mike Maliss just did a lesson. And I think he mentioned the place known as Brazil. And millions of Africans were shipped to the New World to work the sugar plantations of that new territory. Amalekites have been making money off of Israel. And again, I think we read all the way back in the 18th century. All the way back in the 18th century. So now I want to go back to the Bible. Go back to the Bible because it's important, Israel, that you understand the world around you. And there's nothing new under the sun. These people didn't get from rags to riches just because. That's not how that happened. Not only is that not the case, they were not proclaimed as an enemy of the Most High and his people for no reason. Not only that, he didn't proclaim that he would deal with them for no reason. That's not the case. So I want to go to 1 Samuel. And this truth for thought actually isn't going to be that long. It really isn't going to be that long. And the reason I'm not going to make this truth for thought that long is because it actually doesn't have to be just to see the facts thereof, not what I believe, not what I think, not what I feel, nothing subjective. We are going to see in 1 Samuel, and we're going to get chapter 15. We're just going to get 1 Samuel chapter 15, and we're just going to get verses 1 through 9, because I'm going to give an account. Well, this is an account, but I'm going to, for the sake of time, I'm going to give a little explanation to it. What this is the Most High himself. You're going to see he has a lot to do with what we're about to read, okay? Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people. It then goes ahead and gives the ultimate detail over Israel. Now, therefore, hearken unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Now, if you notice in the title, I said, from rags to riches, the opportunistic Amalekites. Listen to verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, not thus saith Marcus G. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. So the Most High said this. I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. What this is referring to is Israel just came out of hard bondage from Egypt. While sojourning from Egypt, there was this biblical nationality, that opportunistic biblical nationality that lie in wait, kind of like certain predator wait for their prey. They wait till the prey, let's say it's a predator that will sit and watch a prey all the way until it decides to go to sleep. Well, there's this prey in Amalek that waited for, there's this predator in Amalek that waited for its prey, Israel, as it was coming out from hard bondage. It was waiting on Israel to afflict them with more bondage, which is what we just read about how Amalek made all this money, how they got from rags to riches. Such an opportunistic people in Amalek. Let me keep reading. This was a commandment. Verse 3 was a commandment straight from the Most High. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. What that means, with the Most High, this was a direct commandment. You go, and everything that has anything to do with Amalek, you kill it. Right? You kill it. Now, these are the words of the Most. Thus saith the Lord. As you see, is how it started in verse 2. Okay, so verse 4, and Saul gathered the people together and numbered them into line, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. So he's going to do that which he was commanded to do, or so it seems. Or so it seems. And Saul said unto the Kenites, go, depart, get ye down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye shewed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. So he came to the place, came to the city of Amalek, right? And he made this public service announcement. Hey, if you are a Kenite, you don't want no part of this smoke, you need to get the hell out of here right now. Unless you want to get dealt with like these Amalekites are about to get dealt with. All right. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until that thou comest to shore that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. Verse 9, but Saul and the people spared Agag. Now this was an error, because the commandment that was given by the Most High was to utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. All right. But they erred because they took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. And that's not, that means they spared somebody. They spared the king of them. That did not sit well, as that was not, there's no such thing as doing 99.9% of that which the Most High commands. Now, I'm going to stop it right there, because I urge you, Israel, continue to read this, because you'll see that the job was actually done eventually. But that brings back that same question, though. What did Amalek do to deserve such a judgment from the Most High? Well, I'll tell you what they do. They do exactly what they're doing today. They're the same people of today. These Jewish people are the same people today. They capitalize. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen, because I want to share this with you again, so that you will understand this is written by a person of Israelite descent. This is directed. This is the actual documentary, right? As you can see, only available on Amazon Prime. It's only on Amazon Prime. You can only get this at Amazon, who is owned by an Amalekite. These people always have profited off of, and this young man right here, Ronald Dalton Jr., is of Israelite descent. Who is profiting if you were to go and check out Hebrews to Negroes? Right now, if you spent the $49.99 to buy this movie, to buy this documentary, who profits from this? Who profits from this? And then my people will sit and say things like, well, they run the media, and how did they get to this point? How did they go from rags to riches? You have to know the history of, you have to know the whys, why they got to the position that they did. I say that so much in my Truth for Thoughts. The reason why this was an opportunistic people is because they literally lie in wait to do to the Most High's people that which all those other nations played a part in. And that was the affliction of the Most High's chosen people. All right. So, like I said, this one wasn't going to be that long. But I did want to go into that because, again, when Kyrie actually just put this picture in a Twitter feed, he literally just tweeted this particular picture, and he's being persecuted. Yet, right now, this particular documentary is selling at record numbers. Who's benefiting from that? I will tell you, this man of Israelite descent is not getting the benefit of it. Nowhere near like the Amalekite that owns Amazon, which is the only place you can get it. So with that, Israel, this particular Truth for Thought was actually just a look in history. And I'm going to do some other Truth for Thoughts where I'm going to literally look at each of the enemies that are mentioned in Psalms 83. And we're going to look at why are they enemies of the Most High? Scripturally, as well as just over history itself in regards to the Most High and his chosen people. Again, I know it's some people that's going to be like, man, and I said this before. I did a lesson about this not too long ago. This is not racism. This is not anti-Semitic. That's impossible. As we are a people of Shem, that's another byword that they a more common proverb and byword for us. What do you know? But this is for you all to understand, because like I left it right there in 1 Samuel. You would have to read all the way up, and I even tell you into 2 Samuel to actually see when the job was actually done. But I task you with doing so. Learn your history. Learn your history so you won't just be sitting here saying, you know, they run this and they run this, and you don't know why it got to that point. How did it get to that point? How did it get to where they run all the media? How did they even get the financial means to buy into something like that? How did that happen? Do your research, Israel. Don't even take my word for it. And again, I'm going to leave the link to the description of everything that I had in this Truth for Thought for you to go and read it yourself. Time is drawing nigh, Israel. The time to really start putting the pieces of the puzzle together is dwindling down. It's one thing, you know, for me to tell you, yeah, Amalek got to pay. It's another thing for me to explain to you why Amalek has to pay. Yes, Amalek has to pay. Amalek played a role in the enslavement of, as well as even today, when it comes to entertainment, all these media outlets that are, but let's take rap. You know, who owns Sony? Just out of curiosity, let's see if anybody has done any research. Who owns Sony recording? Anybody know? Anybody know? I'm not gonna tell you, but just so you'll start seeking some things, so you'll start researching some things. So who owns Sony recording, right? I'll tell you, it's an Amalekite, right? But Sony is known for hip hop. What does an Edomite know of hip hop? Yet they making all this money off hip hop artists who know about hip hop. And then people will wonder, well, why do they run so much? Just go back over history, and it literally lines itself up. So I hope that this opens your eyes a little bit to the world around you, as there are going to be other things that are going to be that I'm hoping you, Israel, as a people, are willing to research yourself so that you'll understand not only the position that you're in, but how you're in the position in direct correlation to other biblical nationalities. You know, of course, I can say it's because of the curses. That's true. It's true. But it is also very true that, you know, same people that say they are Jews, they were slave traders. But per the Bible, the slaves were the Jews. Please make that shit make sense. That substantiates why, when Yahushua was referring to those who say they are Jews but are not, of those who say they are Jews, but do lie, and refers to them as the synagogue of Satan. These same people will tell people like me, I'm anti-Semitic. That's impossible. I'm of Shem. I'm not anti-Semitic. How is that? That would mean I'm against myself. But we have people that are for hire, which means they're worried about their money. And they know if they don't say things that certain people would like to hear, then that very well may cut off their money. The good thing about the word, though, is it has never been for sale. That is a beautiful thing. So I urge you, Israel, because the world is really, as time is dwindling, the world is showing itself. It is revealing itself. Just as it is written in the Bible, there's a reason that there's that indignation towards Amalek. But you would have to research to find out what role Amalek played in the affliction of the Most High chosen people. So I know it's probably going to be some scoffers. Please, I implore you, please leave your little comments and leave your little funk ass feelings at the door. Because if you can't come to me with something scriptural, and if you can't come to me with something that is not found throughout many documented historical things that say the latter of that which you want to feel, believe, or think, man, check that shit at the door. With that, Israel, I bid you Shalom. Till next time, be it the Most High will. It's your brother Marcus G. Shabbat Shalom. And until next time, it's your brother Marcus G. I'm out.